It's been 20 years of creation of local council development areas in Lagos, and we're looking at local government administration in Nigeria and what has to be done differently. Right Honorable Waheed Joko Tolakbalumi, first Speaker of the 5th House of Assembly in Lagos, is my guest. Thank you so much for staying the course on the program. Now, let's talk about this local government reforms that you are quite interested about. But I want to pick up on what we've not been able to actualize. In Nigeria, as we speak, they say 313 out of 774 local councils are still run by sole administrators or caretaker committees. And that's where it all begins from. Every local government election you see across the country, most times, maybe except in one or two states, it's the ruling party at the state that clears everything. I think it was Kaduna that tried electronic voting and had some, other parties win a few years ago. The implication of that also is that there are allegations that the entirety of what's happening there are party issues, that party nominations. I mean, they are not really open up to the entirety of the state. What do you think have been done differently, as we explore the reforms that you talked about?
Well, you need a massive overhaul of the Constitution along the lines set out by the Constitution Drafting Committee during Mantu's Senate leadership or Vice Senate, Deputy Senate leadership. And that went a long way, to address the issues, that you're talking about.
Hold that thought for a minute, Right Honorable. Let's get Segun Olulade's thought. He's called in from Ikeja. Good morning, Segun.
Yeah, good morning. And compliment of the season to Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to, first of all, use this opportunity to congratulate you and the other members of the House then that make it a reality for Lagosians to have the LCDAs in Lagos, and also our President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for making it happen today. Because we can see the level of development that is all over the state today. If not for the creation of those LCDAs today, I don't think any of these development we are talking about. Just recently, we just see an LCDA in Lagos at Boikeju giving us an housing scheme in Lagos. In that LCDA, that shows the development that we have witnessed in Lagos State. Another thing is about the constitution that you are referring to, sir. I want to look at the area of federalism. The third tier you are referring to, is local government part of the third tier of federalism? If not, because I think that was the basis of that constitutional issue, because I expect that the breach that we have there is that they have to go and get an approval at the National Assembly. I think that shouldn't have been. It should be between the state houses of assembly to create and give them life to operate, while they also have their independence. I think what is important is that the local government should have their independence, while we also ensure that the local governments are operating under the state and can be created by the state. Instead of taking it to the National Assembly, I think that is where the whole matter, for me, is the issue. Thank you. And compliment.
Thank you, Honorable Olulade. Well,
Can I address
that's someone from your camp.
He's my man, actually.
He's a former lawmaker himself.
He's my man from my constituency, actually. He's stated brilliantly, but there's a bit of a confusion here and there. The issue of autonomy stands on its own. The issue of creation is another issue entirely. But I take his point, and this is the point that I've always made, to the effect that if you're going to create local governments, make it a purely state affair, such that you don't have to revert to the federal government to complete the creation exercise. Now, he's referring to, to Section 8, subsection 5 of the Constitution, at the risk of repeating myself, which stipulates that the National Assembly shall make consequential provisions to perfect, to list only in the first schedule of the Constitution. That's number one. He's suggesting that you should make it purely a state affair. And that's like saying, take out Section 8, subsection 8.6 or Section 8, subsection 8.5, that after you've perfected all the requirements as prescribed for the creation exercise in Section 8.3, from request to approval to referendum to proposal to making returns in Section 8, subsection 6, you don't now have to go back to the National Assembly. The creation exercise, once integrated, completely integrated, vertically, horizontally, you're good to go. The creation exercise is completed such that you don't have to go back to the National Assembly for any perfection, even though the Constitution didn't use the language perfect. It's just by a bill, create an environmental list, the newly created local government. So his suggestion on a final note is that take out that provision. The moment you take out that provision, if we have the political will to remove that provision, that is to say Section 8, subsection 5, which requires the National Assembly to make those consequential provisions, then we're good to go. It should be a purely state affair. So I agree with him there. On the issue of autonomy, yes. We seem to run erroneously and try to get away with the impression that the Constitution recognizes, a three-tier system. No, it didn't. It created a chapter for the executive, created a chapter for the judiciary, for the state, and failed to create a chapter for the local government. And because it talks about local government in the Constitution, people now begin to think that it is a tier of government. It is not yet. All the Constitution succeeded in doing so far is to create an atmosphere, to prepare the ground that, look, you need to create, maybe in the course of time and circumstances, we will create a tier for the local. It is only then when that happens. If you recall, I'd said in the course of my representation here that until such time as that tier is created, you will always continue to have the contention about the status of local government and its autonomy.
Dio has called in from Isheri North. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, please turn down the volume of your TV. Go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. Yeah. I have listened to what the former speaker talking about when he says for federal system, you have the state, you have federal, state, and local government. I disagree. Local government has no thing to do with federation. It is the states that are federating units to form the federation. That is one. Two, Nigeria is usually a confused country. Now, if local government is supposed to be legislated upon by states, why should you be talking about federal government sending money to local government? Why? So we have found it difficult to have a good local government system in this country because you have made local government to be neither state appendage nor federal appendage. The best thing is remove local government from having direct payment from the federal. Let states create local government. The moment you allow that, then if the money that is coming to states is purely for state, the state will now decide whether you have, according to population, 250,000 for local government. Then the state can now say, I need only 50 local government. Then from there, you will now disburse money according to the regulation that is there in the Constitution.
All right.
But when you allow federal government to put money direct to states, and then you now say the money will now go to, what do you call it now? Joint account. Confusion everywhere. It doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Daya, for your contribution. Yes, I'm confused too.
Yeah, You see, there's so much confusion in that.
Yes.
But there's nowhere in the statute book, neither the statute book nor the Constitution, where it says go pay directly to the local government. I'll direct him to go back to section 162, 5 of the Constitution. It says the federal government, it says that all sums standing to the credit of local government shall be distributed to the states in a manner prescribed by the National Assembly. It now goes on in section 162, subsection 8, to say that all sums that stand to the credit of local governments, the states shall the state government shall distribute to the respective local governments in a manner prescribed by the State House of Assembly. One is to allocate. The job of the federal government is to allocate to the states funds due for their respective local governments. It now prescribes, now says that at section 1628, that the state government, through its own State of Assembly, shall distribute to requisite. Are you with me? But the current demand for funds to come directly from the federal government to the state, I agree with it. It shouldn't be so. It's contradiction in terms. But what is causing that is that there is no tier of government at the third level. We erroneously think, and I don't know how people get away with it, that this constitution which we run now identifies and creates three-tier system. No, it's a two-tier system.
Was this part of the process of constitutional review we've seen in the past years?
Yes, it may. Well, it's a part of that review.
Yes.
It was. Since 1976, let me take it from there, the reforms. In 1984-85, there was Dasuki-led review. Odimelo, that's two. There was a technical committee led by the Sandan Dayako in 2003. Odimelo, that's about 4 reviews. Now tell me, they have not seen the light of day. Since 1976, Dasuki-led review, the reform of national government, 1984-85, 2003, Sandan Dayako-led technical committee. The rec should go back and read the recommendations made by those committees. And then we wouldn't have this confusion. But we lack the political wherewithal. Once it is done, I'm
wondering how you recommend that, we maneuver this system that has refused to allow the local government's autonomy over the years. But let's take Adekunle's call from Lokoja. Good morning, Adekunle. Adekunle, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
I'm not connected to the studio, right?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, Mr. Adekunle.
Yes.
All right, we'll have to return to that call if it's not ready.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. You have just a minute. Go ahead, Mr. Adekunle.
Yeah, the first caller, and I'm listening to your conversation on the TV right now.
Okay.
Hello?
Well, with you, please go ahead. Oh, I think we lost that. When you're calling in, try to turn down the volume of your TV so we can have a direct conversation via telephone. So what do you think have been done differently? Because you seem to say that we have a rich history of trial and error in this regard. Governors have frustrated the process, even with the latest constitutional review. How do local governments get the autonomy, under these circumstances?
How do they get it?
Yes.
It's very simple. Create a third tier of
Who does this creation?
The National Assembly?
Because we understand that you also have to carry the houses of assembly along.
You're looking for 2/3 there?
For 2/3. And as long as these houses of assembly are under the governors, you probably wouldn't get it.
You probably wouldn't get it. From here to high heavens, you may not get it. That is the truth of the matter. But if you create an avenue for all the state governments to create, maybe by law, by fair, say, okay, so hey, all of you, go create local governments. We'll take it from there. You see that they pick up an interest in the matter. Without that, we can't go too far.
So
create a tier for the state for the local government.
Okay.
And then you can begin to get away with the idea that the Constitution has created.
The implication of that also, implication of that also is, when you give states liberty to create as many local government areas.
You have to tailor that against your resources.
Yes, because, but eventually, when they get autonomy, the resources still come down from the federal government, isn't it?
Well, it does, because we don't run it through federalism, like the previous caller said.
Exactly.
We don't run. You see, the problem with our federalism is, and this is where all the problems emanate, is that our problems, our own federalism emerged from inside outwards. It's not if a unit of federating states coming together to form a federation. In our own case, it is units finding out to become, it makes absolutely no sense. And that is the bane of our problems. So create one tier of system, one tier. Go back to those reviews and the recommendations made by those reviews, and then you begin to see fireworks. You can then begin to see progress. Like Honorable Olade has said, that local council, I said to support him, that now is the time that you're beginning to see evidence and sprinkles of development at the local government level. Because one, the state deepened its politics, they had a template by which for them to run, and they have the resources to run it. The wherewithal, the political authority, the authority is what is lacking at that level of the Constitution. But it's good to continue to make the point and emphasize, that those rights, inalienable part of the autonomy, is a creation. It is defined not by statute, but by the Constitution. So in essence, you have to go back to the Constitution to get anything done.
And then you have to find a way to bypass the governors.
They'll fall in line. It will be a constitutional matter.
Indeed. Adekunle has called back. Please go ahead with the contribution, Adekunle.
Yeah.
Adekunle, are you there?
I'm there.
All right, please go ahead with the contribution.
Yeah, sorry for the break in transmission. I was trying to say about yes, I'm here. Yeah, I had a master's in public policy and administration, 2006. And in my thesis,
so the challenge, Adekunle, is that your TV is on, and there's a delay between what we say in the studio and what you hear on your television. So I'm hoping that you hear this later. The next time you call in, your TV has to be completely, turned down, else we're not going to be able to have that conversation. Very interesting conversation, Right Honorable. And you're saying that there's a way to achieve all of these, through reviewing the Constitution. But do you think that there is a political expectation, especially for people in the Southwest, for Mr. President to achieve this in a lifetime of his administration?
That expectation is so huge and enormous. Huge and enormous. And I'm confident in answering your question and in being able to say without reservations that those expectations will be met. A good part of it will be met because of the person we're dealing with. And he had also succeeded. He'd done it in the past, we know his track records. And he's also surrounded himself at that level with competent hands, the people who knows what they're doing, people who can tell their left hand from their right hand, people who don't speak from both sides of their mouth, people who are sincere, sincere about what they say and what they do. So for those reasons and those considerations, I expect that those expectations will be met all in good time.
So are we assuming that once local governments get their autonomy, automatically the issue of poor leadership, misappropriation of funds as we hear them, are going to be fixed?
Can you get that completely obliterated? No, we'll be playing the proverbial ostrich that buries our head under the sun, thinking that the rest of the world is okay. No, the rest of the world is not okay. It's not. You see, to get to that level, there has to be a massive change in orientation. I don't know what the National Orientation Agency is doing. They're pulling their boots up, pulling themselves by their strap boots. They're doing enough already, but maybe that enough is not enough. They need to do more. To change our orientation about attitude to governance, to issues that relates to almost everybody.
Please hold that thought.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that reorientation shortly. But Sonny has called in from the United Kingdom. Hi, Sonny. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Hi, guys. Thanks. I think I like the conversation that is going on, but my contribution is this really. Yes, local government in Nigeria, they need the autonomy like 5-10 years ago, because there is absolutely no doubt anywhere in the world, governance, leadership should be as close to people as possible.
Yeah.
I know some of my own views may be extreme. I personally don't believe in Nigeria we need governors, because to be honest with you, you ask yourself, what are our governors doing? And the local government administrators cannot do it. They have the same resources. What is big deal about building bridges? What is big deal about building roads? So over years, of course, like you guys have said in the studio, you found out that the way our federal system evolved has been the problem, really, because it's not something that a group of people kind of entities coming together, but like I can't take the name of the panelist there. You know, he said it clearly that look, instead of evolving from inside out, it's the other way we're having. Now, that needs to really be tackled so that governance needs as best as possible to be close to people. And that's what we need. And I have no doubt that if that happens, you have that if we're going to see good governance, we will see good governance. Because if I take example in my local government in Nigeria, if my local government chairman start misbehaving, if he doesn't want to listen, we go to the Obas. And we're going to have a lot of people who are going to put pressure on those people who are piloting their fears to make things work. So I think I will leave it at this point in time that it's a good thing that we should give autonomy to our local government. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonny, for your contribution. You were talking about the need to reorientate. And usually when we talk about orientation, almost everybody talks about the NOA. How much can that agency do, really? Is there a multi-stakeholder approach to having that change across board, not just from a particular agency?
Exactly. Well, even that agency alone, it's so structured in a way that it's massive enough, to take care of issues. But do you ever see them in your locality? Do they exist in my neighborhood? The National Orientation Agency? You don't find them anywhere. The nearest impact we felt about them was the time of was at DFRI during the Babangida years. That was a precursor of the National Orientation Agency. But they don't exist in my neighborhood. Even in my state, the offices in Ikeja, is there. They're doing their best at the national level, maybe at the state level. But do you hear about them on a daily basis? Like you hear of the Punch newspaper, or the Tribune, or the Nation newspaper? That's the way it should be, to disseminate information in the ways the printer media disseminate information.
Indeed.
That is the way to change people's orientation. When you're constantly talking at them. But national orientation agency exists on national TV, on NTA 24. Or maybe you hear about them every now and again when they have a program, on TV Continental or Channels TV. They don't exist in the local government. In the Kosieji, I don't know where the offices are.
Let's take
They have
Austin.
no representation there. That is what they should do. Talk at people at that level, and then we can begin to see results about the change of orientation.
But let's take this conversation to Paris, where Austin has called in from. Hi, Austin.
Yeah, I'm okay, sir. Mr. Nifemi, I'm very grateful that you took me today because I've been calling for past 1 year.
Oh, my.
Anyway.
Wow. Congratulations, then. Please go ahead with the contribution.
Yeah, I want to congratulate our former speaker or something for his analysis. He's a very good man, but I wonder that our president has not given him something else to do because it's very useful to the nation. That is one.
Thank you.
Number two, I want to also see this opportunity before I talk about the LCDA because they are doing well, and it is the handiwork of God and our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and those who work with him in those times like this, our speaker. Good. But my problem now is this. This government with our president, their communication strategy is very poor. Communication strategy is very poor. They are not analyzing things. They are not explaining things to the people. I tell you, I've been defending the president in Europe here with a lot of headache. People want to hate him. They say this and that, but what he's doing is right. But there's no explanation. Please, I want to see this medium that you tell him to communicate. His communication team, Bayo Nonuga, and all the likes. They should communicate well, educate people. Iyailewedu in Mushin does not understand what is subsidy removal. So people are just grumbling, people are crying. Please, communication, that is two. Number three, the problem we have in Nigeria is one man said there is confusion or something like that a while ago.
Yeah.
I want to agree with him. But is that of morality also. Because I noticed one thing, that all the people that takes position in Nigeria, they are not, they don't take it as a service to the people. Like, this LCDA that they created, it's a very good thing, very, very good thing. We have that in Paris also, in France as well, but it's not the same, it doesn't function the same way. Now, what am I driving at? If the local government chairman takes it as a duty to serve the people, you see, many of them, they just see it as an opportunity to gather money, to wear agbada, to buy good cars, to have a lot of things. And that is the problem we have. This has been on and on for many years.
All right.
If everybody that is in any office says, okay, I'm going there to serve, let them serve very well. This money matter we are talking about, federal government releasing money to LCDA, constitutional is not constitutional. Okay, if the money is released, are they going to use it for the people?
All right. Mr. Austin, I can tell you've been trying to call in for a whole year. That's why you have a varied opinion. In fact, it's lobbying you for a position already with the federal government.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Austin.
So, but we have to go now. How do you round this off in such a way that, the autonomy is feasible in a short period of time, and then we won't still be talking about this in another decade?
Deepen our politics. We need to deepen our politics. When you deepen your politics, you can relate with almost anybody in the scheme of things.
Indeed.
The system is so replete with individuals and units and organizations and institutions that when completely integrated and operating on the same page and operating the full throttle,
Indeed.
you can get results.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Right Honorable Waheed Jokotolak Pelumi, first Speaker of the Fifth House of Assembly in Lagos between 2003 and 2005. Are you planning to return to politics anytime soon?
I'm neck deep in politics. not even for an instant of time did I leave politics.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
neck deep in it. I had to fly in this morning because of you people, to get to this.
Thank you for the audience. That's our show today, everyone. We're back tomorrow, God willing, with another exciting episode. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.